and welcome to our second episode of Let's Grow Parents and Carers by Grandeur UK. So, just moving on from our first episode that really explored self regulation, how to support children with that co regulation, I'm really excited to be introducing our second episode, which is really all around toddlers. Their emotions, their behaviours, how do we support our toddlers when they're experiencing some of those big emotions, and especially around some of the challenging elements of biting, which can sometimes be a response reaction when a child's experienced frustration or unhappiness or anger. So really excited to welcome Jana to our second episode of the series. So Jana, tell our audience a little bit about you, your experience, and all of the things that you can share with us today.
So I've been in early years for going on 9 years, and I have been part of the Dicky Birds nurseries. I am the regional support manager and nursery manager at Maple Road. I actually started in the toddler room, so quite a fitting age group, supporting them a lot with their development and their personal social journey, before moving into preschool, where I then completed my PGCE, so completing my early years childhood studies. And I now support across the nursery from babies all the way through to preschool, ensuring that they are given support in their developmental journey.
Amazing. And I would imagine that, Jana, the area of behaviour and sometimes children exhibiting biting, parents would seek support from you quite regularly in that regard.
Yes, absolutely, especially when children are going through changes at home, like a new sibling coming along or moving house. That's often when we see it coming through a lot.
Okay.
So at the moment we have quite a few siblings being introduced into families, and that's what we're supporting the children with a lot at the moment.
What can trigger some of that biting behaviour? Are there some triggers sometimes?
So it could be communication. The children are just not able to communicate their needs. Frustration, especially at a toddler stage, because children are still developing their empathy and their understanding of others around them. They are very egotistical and they want what they want, and they might not have the communication skills to communicate that.
Right.
So they might exhibit biting in response to that, in terms of, you've got what I want, or I want to do a certain thing. So they might then bite in response to that. It could also just be a sensory need, especially with children teething. So there's a lot of factors that go into biting.
So Jana, when we're supporting families and parents responding to biting, what sorts of strategies would you advise that they could use in that moment?
So the first thing I'd recommend to parents is to not overreact to the biting. You obviously don't want to give additional attention to that behaviour or that action. I would remain quite calm. Mm-hmm. Depending on the situation, if they have potentially maybe bitten a sibling or a friend that you're on a play date with, it's obviously consoling that child first and ensuring that they are okay.
Yes.
But equally understanding what the stressor was to the child and supporting them with that. Like, I can see that you're upset.
So really important to validate the children's feeling in the moment, so that they have that understanding that you understand.
Yes. And give them resources that they can use to support that. So if they are feeling upset or angry, it's absolutely okay that we're feeling those things. We need to validate their feelings.
Yes.
But how can we express them without biting or hurting somebody?
Yeah.
So we do a lot of bubble breathing at the nursery, which is a great tool, and we do give that out to parent packs to support them. So it's a little pack which has a little kit of bubbles in it, and it's encouraging the children to blow the bubbles out, and that's getting a lot of their frustration out.
Okay.
Some children can't communicate their needs, and that's what it's about. So it's us supporting that with that communication and giving them the words that they need.
How could we help with that? Because you're right, I think communication's key, and if a child isn't able to communicate, what sorts of resources could aid us with that?
So there's a lot of books that are great for supporting children. So I've got one example here which we have in our parent library, which is Teeth Are Not for Biting.
Okay.
So especially for toddlers, they might not have the words for it, but we can talk through the act of biting and support them with alternatives. But also we can support children with signing. If they don't want to do something, we can stop or help, or more, or it could just be that they're tired.
Okay.
And it's just understanding the child and what support they need in that moment.
Amazing. And is biting something that children tend to grow out of? Is it a response that stays with them for quite a long time on that sort of emotional journey? What tends to happen?
It is something that they generally grow out of. It is developmentally age and stage appropriate, I would say, from about 12 months to 30 months.
Yes.
So really kind of in that key toddler stage. For younger biters, it is generally a sensory response that they want to put something in their mouth, and we can support them by having alternatives like a chew toy or maybe a crunchy snack because they might be teething. And as they develop empathy and understanding of those around them, they generally grow out of it, but we can absolutely support them through that and redirect their energy.
Amazing. And you've brought some tools with you today and some books and resources. Do you want to just share some of the pieces that you've bought, just so that our families have an understanding of some of the resource that's out there for them to use?
So these are books specifically around biting, so supporting children and toddlers with biting. So they're little story books, very basic language and visuals in it, so it can be read and done with children. We use this a lot in our toddler room, which gives children alternatives to biting, but also understanding that biting does hurt. And we're not going to be biting our friends or our mummies or daddies. We're going to bite an apple or something else instead. And I think linked to that, I haven't brought any books along, but it's also just understanding the emotions, that it's okay that we're angry. So there's a really lovely range of dinosaur books about different emotions. So the angry saurus, the worry saurus, and that's by saying it's okay that we have these feelings, but what can we do to, how can we better articulate those?
Absolutely. And I think Jane shared with us in our first episode some resources through the Colour Monster.
Yes,
great
resource.
Again, a really good resource just to sort of validate and understand children's emotions and how to support them through that. So before we close today, Jana, what are your sort of closing thoughts and feedback for our audience today?
I think for parents, what you need to remember is biting isn't done out of malice or intention. It is about a child meeting their needs. It might be a communication need, it might be a sensory need, but it's not done out of malice, and it's what we can do to support them. So don't feel embarrassed or ashamed. Your children can be supported through it, and us at the nursery team are more than able and willing to support you with that.
Amazing. And that's really important, isn't it? That we're here as professionals to really help you on that journey, that age and stage of development. So if you do need any help, any support in relation to supporting your child through that period of emotion, and sometimes that can exhibit itself as biting, please reach out to our nursery manager, our team. We absolutely have lots of resources and different elements to help you. So thank you so much for tuning in for episode 2, and we're really looking forward to seeing you on our next episode, which is all around health and safety and the importance of health and safety both in nursery but also in the home. So look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much, and thank you, Jana.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.